it's Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Tuesday, September 6th. So today we have the moon in Capricorn for the majority of the day. We will see that moon go void, of course, around 5:44 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we'll be locking into Aquarian energy at 11:42 p.m. again Eastern Standard Time. So the fact that the moon is still in Capricorn all day, this is definitely an earth energy, making us a little bit more focused on being determined on what it is that we need to do in order to align with our goals, with our ambitions, what it is that we have to clean up in our lives, what we have to take care of in order to clean the slate for us to get building on bigger and brighter things. Now, the moon in Capricorn energy has us a little bit serious, a little bit somber, a little bit even on that negative Nancy type of narrative at times, but there's a reason for that, because we have to really get down to the nitty gritty on what we need to do, where it is that we're feeling stuck, what it is that has to be cleaned up, because as the moon moves into Aquarius energy, this is where we free ourselves from some of those restrictions. And in that Aquarian energy, we also lighten the vibe up. It makes us realize where we've been holding tension and where it is that we have to let that tension go. It gives us a bigger, brighter vision, a bigger, brighter energy, if you will, to push us forward, to encourage us to move on from some of the things that we've already identified under the moon in Capricorn that are a little bit heavy and a little bit weighted in our physical bodies and, of course, on our heart space. So there are 10 different aspects here today. 9 of them involve the moon. The moon right out of the gate is going to make an aspect with Venus, who just moved into Virgo energy here yesterday. If you haven't listened to that astro forecast, I'm going to recommend you do so. We have this earth on earth energy with the moon in Capricorn and Venus in Virgo. And one thing we are definitely doing is trying to figure out where in our emotions, in our personal relationships, even in our money matters, things aren't jiving well. Things don't feel good. What it is that we want to change, where it is that we feel blocked, and what it is that we feel most challenged with. Of course, in this Virgo season that we're in, and in all of this earth energy that we're currently in, this is about identifying the problems in order to provide solutions. Now, the moon is going to go ahead and trine Uranus right after, which, of course, Uranus is retrograde in Taurus energy, so another earth on earth aspect. The trine is a good aspect, which means that we are making progress, gaining clarity, having aha moments, moments of inspirations, moments where we are seeing the bigger, brighter picture unfold. And because this Uranian energy is the great awakener, and because we're retrograde in Taurus energy, this is supposed to be showing us where it is that we are too attached to certain people, titles, possessions in our lives, because that is essentially what is holding us back from taking risks, from putting ourselves out there, from really kind of breaking free from the construct of this quote unquote quote comfort zone that we've created that is starting to kind of feel like a prison. Now, this is a good aspect, which means that we're having revelations, we're having aha moments. The Uranian energy is trying to kind of open up our minds on what it is that we need to free ourselves from in order to have the space to get a little bit more creative, to have a little bit more excitement, spontaneity in our lives that, of course, we shun away from, because having things be the same old provides us with a level of comfort and predictability. Many of us want a different situation to unfold at the moment, but are grasping at the way that things have always been. Again, when we can predict things, good, bad, or otherwise, it gives us a little bit more safety and security. And at this particular point in the adjustment period that we're all going through, we really are kind of grasping on to the same old in a way that is actually preventing us from moving on. So the moon goes ahead and bumps into Saturn. Saturn rules over this Capricorn energy. So we definitely have a little bit of a friction, tension point emerging. The way that this interaction is unfolding, it is likely going to be an outside activation, an outside trigger, illuminating to us where it is that our roles, our responsibilities, our commitments are really weighing us down, really making us feel trapped, really making us feel frustrated with the energy that we no longer really have to give to these particular aspects of our life. Again, keep in mind that we're supposed to be illuminated to where it is that we feel held back and restricted in life in order for us to bring that into our awareness so that we can kind of mix things up, switch things up, make it a better vibration and frequency for us to free ourselves from the heaviness, from the weight of bearing these roles and responsibilities on our shoulders. Saturn being retrograde in Aquarian energy is trying to kind of illuminate for us where it is that we have to start thinking more about doing what is right for ourselves and less about doing what we think is the best and what is right according to other people. And of course, getting down to the nitty gritty and really getting real with the roles and responsibilities and the commitments that we've made to other people, getting real with whether or not we still feel like honoring those said commitments will either refresh us in a way to lighten the vibe around still having to do certain tasks, chores, whatever the case may be. And in some cases, illuminate that we're not really willing to continue to give the best part of our energy away to these roles and responsibilities. And therefore, we can work on how we can free ourselves from these particular weights on our chest. So then the moon moves into an aspect with Jupiter. This is a positive one because Jupiter is magnifying for us where it is that we need growth, where it is that we have to do better, where it is that we have to improve, where it is that we have to kind of muster up a brand new bravery, a brand new warrior spirit. Of course, from the Aries energy that Jupiter is currently retrograde in, we do tap into that determination, that motivation to actually make a change, to cut the cord from the past and actually rewrite our actions, our roles and responsibilities in a different way. And so from the earlier examination of what it is that we feel trapped or restricted by, this is going to illuminate for us where it is that, you know what, we're going to have to really work on this particular area of our lives because we need to feel better about it. We need to grow through this process. We need to improve the way that we feel about conducting these roles and responsibilities. And through all of that, we have to change our belief system on what is actually worth our time, energy, and effort. The moon makes a sextile, which is another beautiful aspect, this time with Neptune. Neptune is retrograde in Pisces energy, which tends to highlight for us our inner dream realm, our spiritual realm, our creativity. And because this kind of connects us with our higher self, our intuition, if you will, this is a beautiful time to remind ourselves the dream and the vision that we are actively trying to manifest, bringing it into the physical realm of our physical bodies, into the emotions that the moon is currently sitting in Capricorn. We're able to actually discern what needs to be done in order for us to actually get from where it is that we're at to where it is that we desire to be. This is going to be a huge motivating factor for us, reminding us and renewing our inspiration to go ahead and actually make these dreams and visions come to life. Now we take that one step forward. Now we're going to take a little bit of a step back when the moon goes ahead and bumps into Mars. Mars, of course, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desire, even our anger, who is currently in Gemini energy. The polarized aspects of Gemini energy is supposed to show us both sides of the coin, debate it out so that we can find a happy medium, a common ground. The moon representing our emotions and our heart space, and Mars representing the physical actions that we need to take to actually aggressively assert ourselves in this physical world to align with what it is that we need to do to bring said dreams and visions to life. We are definitely taking this opportunity with this particular interaction to figure out what it is that we're actually hell-bent, determined on doing, what it is that we need to be motivated and inspired to pursue. And of course, that Gemini energy has had us very divided, picking apart both sides of the coin and trying to figure out what path, what direction, what choice, what decision we need to lean further into, and which one we need to create a little bit of space from. What this kind of tells me is we are going to be a little bit internalized, maybe frustrated and irritated with not being able to truly define what path, what choice, what decision is for us, but we're figuring it out. Even more than that, this Mars energy is the warrior type of spirit, and Capricorn energy is like the, let's call it the general foreman of the zodiac, which means that we're not messing around. We're really looking to be aggressive in sorting through our thoughts and emotions to figure out what is blocking us from actually making the kind of progress that we had almost wished that we would have made by this particular point already. So this is going to kind of frustrate us in our emotions and in our physical bodies. If we're not careful, we can be a little bit dramatic and take our anger and frustration and irritability out on the world around us. However, if we can channel this energy correctly, it is going to kind of build up enough conflict and tension within us to push us to actively sort through our thoughts and feelings so that we can choose one path, choice, and direction over the other. This is when the moon is going to bump into Venus again, this time in a much better way, which means that now we are solving problems, which means that this earlier tension and inner conflict between the moon and Mars is definitely leading us to some clarity, especially where our own worth is concerned, our own self-esteem, our own confidence within ourselves to actually be able to do what is necessary to achieve what it is that we are looking to manifest. But even more than that, Venus now in Virgo is really looking to heal what has been broken within ourselves, returning ourselves back to a state of wholeness, but also very much focused on relationships and money matters, where the problems are at. And of course, identify those problems so that we can come up with a plan, with a strategy in order to fix it. The moon and Venus interacting in this way means that we are solving some issues. We are making some headway in planning for what it is that we now know to be true within us. What do we need emotionally? What is it that we desire? What is it that's holding us back? What can we actually do to fix it? We're coming up with some logical and practical ways of actually changing our focus, our energy, our attention to heal instead of constantly examining what it is that we don't think we're going to be able to overcome, what we don't think we're going to be able to change. At 5:43 p.m., this is the last aspect that the moon is going to make before going void, of course. And it is a meetup, a bump into, a team up with Pluto, the great transformer, who is also retrograde in this Capricorn energy. And what this is going to kind of suggest to us is that we're having epiphanies, we're having revelations, we're recognizing what it is that needs to be fixed, and we are coming up with a logical, practical plan on what it is that we need to do in order to fix it. And we know this because there's a great transformation taking place in our inner realm, in our psyche, in our headspace, in our emotions. The moon in Capricorn sitting next to this Pluto energy is supercharging us to boss up, to take control, to actually stand in our power and start manipulating the elements in our lives to work into our favor instead of keeping us in a victim-like mentality. This is definitely going to be an emotional shift, if nothing else. But of course, we have to align our heart and head in our inner realm before we can go ahead and actively engage our physical body to start taking actions in our physical realm. While the moon is void, and again, let me just remind you, when the moon is void, things get very shaky, things are uncertain. The moon is literally on a journey to shift into another energy. And that can create a lot of insecurities and doubts, whatever it is that we were sure about. Now we start questioning. Not a great time to make any kind of decisions, any kind of commitments, solidify any kind of plans until the moon locks into Aquarius energy. So while the moon is void, we have Venus, who is now in Virgo, bumping into Pluto, who is retrograde in Capricorn energy. So again, we have some Earth on Earth energy. And what this is going to do is it's a good aspect, thank goodness, because it could take us on a totally different path if it was a not so nice aspect. However, the stars are working in our favor with this particular energy. And what this is going to do is allow us to have some very beautiful and profound aha moments in coming up with a very good strategy in how it is that we are going to fix some of the problems that we are identifying in our love life and in our finances. Now, Venus, of course, being all about love and relationships and worth and value and money matters, she's in Virgo energy trying to examine where it is that things are broken to return us to a state of wholeness. And Pluto is basically doing a deep dive in our mental plane, giving us this very, very profound shift, this aha moment, if you will, where things start snapping together. And we have this beautiful download of inspiration, of a vision, of information that suddenly makes a whole lot of sense on how it is that we're going to move forward to provide more safety, security, and stability, not only in the way that we feel about ourselves, but in our relationships that have gotten a little bit disconnected and bumpy, and definitely in our money matters, really kind of seeing where it is that we need to push a little bit harder to, make a side hustle or to tap into different resources. We see things differently when Venus bumps into Pluto in this way, and it's going to be an empowerment type of energy for us to boss up, to see the plan, to move forward, and how it is that we're going to kind of reconcile and heal some of the things that we've identified need a little bit more love and attention in our lives, especially where love and money is concerned. The last aspect that we have here today, and while the moon is still void, of course, in this Capricorn energy, is the moon bumping into the sun. So in this particular aspect, it's not the most favorable aspect, but anytime that the moon and the sun are interacting, it's basically showing us a choice point. There's an overlap of the moon, which typically represents our past, and the sun that typically represents our future. And what it is that we are left with in the overlap is the here and now. And what we get is a choice point. What we get is a redirection, if you will. And just keeping in mind that when the moon moves into Aquarian energy, that we're essentially recognizing where it is that we are leaving tension and conflict and restriction behind, freeing ourselves from some of those things that we would have identified with the moon being in Capricorn. What we are left with is this present moment where we are seeing elements of the old version of ourselves, the old version of our dreams, of our passions, of our relationships, all the aspects that we know are currently shifting in a direction, which means that we're leaving certain aspects of us behind, need to happen in order for us to be able to embody the qualities and characteristics on what it is that we need to focus our time, energy, and love and attention onto in order to actually fix and solve some of the problems that have definitely been illuminated to us over these last couple of days of introspection where, we are looking to identify the problem so that we can fix it. The sun in Virgo only wants to fix, only wants to solve, only wants to return us to a state of wholeness. And the moon, being our emotions, being our intuition, and being our memories, is reminding us of situations that we are moving away from because of the dysfunction, because of the, let's call it, wounds that they have created in our lives. We're very aware of what it is we no longer want to experience. And that leaves us in this present moment of looking at the past and what it is that we are actively working our way to move away from, and then looking at the future and really looking at the want, need, and desire to return to a state of wholeness, to actually feel like we are, healing certain aspects in our lives, and that we ourselves independently have the power to actually do it.